Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Turnquest Roll again. Do you remember our last lesson where we learned how to count by fives? Well, I want us to look at this idea again. Do you remember how to count in fives? Well, here we go. Since you remember how to count in fives, can you tell me the rule of this counting pattern? If you realize that they're counting in fives, even though they're counting backwards, you are one smart cookie. Do you remember how I told you we recognize numbers that are counting in fives? Did you remember to look at the ones place? Well, in the ones place, each number should either end with 0 or 5. If we count backwards, it says 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, 0. So if we flip it, we'll say 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Ha ha! They thought they could trick us, but they sure didn't. Do you see it now? Here I am thinking of counting in fives. Here's the numbers backwards. Did you flip them around and count in fives along with me? Very good. Here are our learning goals for today. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to identify numbers that do not belong in a set. You should also be able to better count in fives. And you should be able to fill in the missing number in a pattern. Are you ready to tackle these learning goals? Well, here we go. Do you remember how to count in fives? Put on your thinking cap and cash in your memory bank. Do you remember I said counting in fives, or skip counting for that matter, helps us to get to the total faster? When we count in fives, we count every fifth number. So here we go. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100. Remember I told you I love to sing? Well, let's sing it this time. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100. You also should remember that I told you when working through a math lesson, you have to think as sharp and as cunning as a detective. I want you to look at this set of numbers. I want you to stop and think and decide two things for me. Which number does not belong in this counting pattern? Why do you think it does not belong in this counting pattern? Cash into your memory bank and take a close look at each of the numbers. Tell me which number you think does not belong, and then I want you to think about why it doesn't belong. Go ahead, get it done. Well, detective, did you find a number that does not belong in this group of numbers? If you picked the number 12, you are one smart cookie. If you remembered that each number that Skip counts in 5 either ends in 0 or 5 or has 0 or 5 in the ones place, you are super. In the number 12, there's a 2 in the ones place. And so it can't belong to the skip counting in 5's group. Well, smart cookie, let's move on. Do you see it? Each number in these groups have 0 or 5 in the ones place. But that pesky number 12 has a 2 in the ones place. So it can't belong to skip counting in 5's group. Now here's where you're going to count in 5s and fill in the missing numbers. I think you should grab a partner to help you with this one. Remember, it could be anybody at home that's willing to work along with you. Do you remember how to count in 5s? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100. Well, go ahead, get it done. I'll give you some time. And buddy, were you able to fill in the missing numbers? Did you remember how to skip count in 5s? Well, I sure hope so. Here we go. In the first row, it says 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Did you get it? Let's move to the second row. This time, they begin with 60. 60, 65, 70, 75, 80. Let's move down to the third row. 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. And the last row. 45, 50, 55, 60, 65. I hope you got them right. Give yourself a big, juicy kiss if you did. And if not, keep trying and keep paying very close attention. Let's move on. Get a group of 3 people this time. While you're sitting in your group, I want you to find out 2 things. And you can use this as just a fun activity between you guys because I won't be able to hear you. How many fingers do you guys have all together? Remember, there are 5 fingers on each hand. So you'll skip counting fives. How many toes do you all have together? Remember, there are 5 toes on each foot. So you're skip counting in fives. Go ahead, get it done. I'll be here waiting. Hey everybody, I'm back. Well, it was me and my twin sons, Hunter and Parker. So, Hunter, Parker, and I, that's 3 of us, each have 5 fingers on our hands. So, if I count each of our hands, then there will be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. That would be 30 fingers we have all together. Then we were supposed to count our toes. So if we skip counting fives to count all of our toes all together, it will be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So altogether, we have 30 toes. That's a lot of toes. Well, here's something else for you to consider. Do you remember when I told you to pay attention to the ones place in each number? Well, that's the tip you're going to need to help you to decide which number from each row does not belong. Are you up for this challenge? And this time, you have to do this on your own. I'm going to give you a little bit to go through each row and circle with your finger each number that does not belong. Then I'll be back and we'll review them together. Are you ready? Go ahead. Well, everybody, I'm back. Which numbers do not belong? Well, 42 does not belong. 68 does not belong. 26 does not belong. And 64 does not belong. These numbers don't belong because they do not end with 0 or 5, or 0 or 5 is not in the ones place. Well, we've come to the end of another lesson. Here's where you get to try some stuff on your own. First, you go to abcya.com and try to get the numbers to burst in the correct chest. Skip counting in fives. Then, have someone join you to print your worksheet from k5learning.com. Remember, Smart Cookie, try your best. And skip counting in fives means that you count every 5th number, or that the number in the ones place or the digit in the ones place either is 0 or 5. Bye-bye. Talk to you soon.